Hello, welcome everyone to Energy Circle today. Our topic for today is boundaries and relationships. Today, we'll explore different kinds of boundaries as well as unconscious emotions that we have with our relational boundaries. So I looked up, what does a boundary mean? And the American Heritage Dictionary says that a boundary is something that indicates a border or limit. And there are lots of different kinds of boundaries we have. We have boundaries with ourselves, the agreement that we make to ourselves, others, including our loved ones, even our pets. My dog loves to want to play while I'm eating. And so I have to set a boundary. Boundaries with work, with the food we consume, with the money we spend, even with our spiritual practice. How do we create sacred space for our own practice? And this also includes time, our space, our physical space, and our environment, as well as emotions. Have you ever been felt emotionally invaded just by being in a room full of people and feeling all their feelings? So there are many different kinds of boundaries, and it serves a purpose. We want to have boundaries so that we don't lose ourselves, we don't lose our own center, and so that we can feel balanced, we can be centered and whole within ourselves. So, boundaries are a positive act that we can take for ourselves and also for others, and just to be free to be ourselves. When we know how to take care of ourselves, our own needs, we feel more free and open and expressive. Boundaries are about what's okay and what's not okay for me. For me. We know what other people might do and what feels okay to them, but boundaries are very personal. They are based on your own experience, your own feelings, your own intuition, and your own energy. So, learning how to really be okay with what's okay for you is instrumental in knowing what your true boundaries are. Boundaries are about honoring your true needs, even asking, being willing to ask for what you really need, and even being worthy of what you want, that what you want is okay, and that what you want is good. And it's also important. So there are these different levels when we start looking at boundaries, our own personal needs and what it is that we truly want. Our relational boundaries often reflect our childhood. So think about your own childhood for a moment. And the question there is, were your boundaries honored as a child? What about your emotional boundaries, your physical boundaries? And what do you remember as a child? And how is that being played out or reflected today? And you'll especially know when you start to feel triggered. It's kind of like an overreaction to what you perceive as someone coming into your space or invading or infiltrating your space, and noticing the emotions. What are the emotions that start to come up when you have a need for a boundary or a limit? And do you feel negative emotions when you have to express or exercise a boundary? What are those negative emotions or thoughts that might be coming up underneath the surface? I think we can all agree that boundaries are a positive thing, but do they come with energy? Is a boundary to you like a punishment? Does it mean taking away from someone else? What is the deeper story that you might have? And do you get hooked with negative emotions like guilt or shame or unworthiness? Do you feel bad when you have to express a boundary in any way? Because that's a good opportunity to raise your awareness on how you feel when it comes to taking care of your own needs and your own desires. So just noticing the emotions that arise within you. I know for a long time, and even now, I do struggle with feeling guilty when I express a boundary. And so that's a very good opportunity to clear and notice where that emotion's coming from on a deeper level. So, what are your emotions when you need a boundary? Do you first feel really angry? Right? That's a good indicator that we need a boundary. When someone's asking something or even demanding something, and we just feel a charge of emotion. And anger is one of the best indicators that space is often needed, and a boundary or even time, so that you have some time to just calm down within yourself. So just noticing too what comes with expressing a boundary. Is there fear of disappointing, of not pleasing someone, of not fulfilling their needs? What is it that comes up for you of being disliked or not accepted by other people? So being aware of these subtle feelings. And this practice today is intended to allow us to feel good and confident about our personal boundaries and feeling good as a healthy practice, as part of our spiritual practice. Thank you so much for taking time to listen to this short presentation in the energy circle.